Throughout the history, let me say that again. Throughout the history of GP4 GP2, there have been a total of 12 champions. First was Motorfan in 2008. We still don't know his real name, of course. Then in that hectic 2009, in which I myself took part in, Akan Salm took the title. With Kifakruzain dominating in 2010, with Franco Gamba taking it by an absolute mile in 2011, a dominant performance. Cameron Anderson managed to win the title in 2012, and then Robert Hunter got that title a year later. Nicolas Pascali won in 2014, with the Ravina Ternon pulling off a miracle here in Brazil to win 2015. In 2016, it was Rodrigo Gomes who managed to take the title at home, the first of three Brazilians to do so. Then in 2017, Enes Paratski managed against the odds to take the title. And I have to mute the stream again. All right, let me carry on. Davi Suarez in 2018 managed to win the title at home, and last season Dudu Curbi was the first driver to win the title without finishing the race. Last season's finale in 2019 was pretty hectic. It was extremely hectic because first up, Thomas Anderson was a long way away in the championship. He needed to score a big number of points. Dudu Curbi crashed out early in the race with Jamie Griffiths. Thomas Anderson he initially was in title winning position, but dropped back rapidly through the race. Eventually, then he fell out of the points, not of the points entirely. He fell out of contention before retiring with an engine failure, handing the championship to Kirby. Now, one last story in the GP2 era remains yet to be written. I am your commentator, Robert Ionescu, and I hope you can forgive me for the long introduction. Just like yesterday, I'm joined by Joseph Willows. Hello there, Joe. How are you doing?
Doing very well indeed, and it's an end of an era for GP2. Who's going to be the final GP2 champion before 2021? We'll find out in about, an hour or so time.
Yeah, indeed. We've had 12 champions. Now, 13 is usually not seen as a lucky number, but the 13th champion will be crowned today. It's a three-man fight after the events of yesterday, and in the team style, sorry, not the constructors. It's a two-way fight between Unai Virtuosi and Trident. Unai Virtuosi having a big advantage. And the drivers' championship is the criteria up on screen, by the way. I'm going to start from the back. So, first up,
Yeah.
Ruslan Protsiuk, after missing out on pole position uh, quite narrowly by 45 thousandths of sec, no 43 thousandths of second. After missing out so narrowly on pole position, he's going to have to win the race and take the fastest lap as well. 27 points are still available. He's 26 behind. Just the win isn't gonna cut it. He needs 27 the full 27 points, win and fastest lap. He also needs Curtis to score only 1 point, so Curtis has to be 10th, and Patel to only score 4 points, which means for Protsik to win the title, he needs Patel in P8, Curtis in P10, and to win the race with fastest lap. Now for Patel, he needs to outscore Curtis by 3 points, which means that if he finishes on the podium, just needs to finish ahead of Curtis, unless Curtis takes the fastest lap, in which case he needs to finish 2 places ahead. If he doesn't finish on the podium, so from 4th down to 8th, he needs to finish 2 places in front of Curtis. Uh, if he has the fastest lap, just 1 place in front of Curtis. If Curtis has the fastest lap, 3 places in front of Curtis. If Patel finishes 9th or 10th, he cannot win the championship unless he has the fastest lap as well. If it ends on a countback, Patel will have the advantage over Curtis, and Protsik would have the advantage over both of them, because for a countback in the first place, he would have to win the race. For Curtis, all he needs to do is finish either 1 place behind Patel, or actually no. Curtis in theory doesn't have to do anything if the odds go his way. He just needs to make sure he loses less than 3 points to Patel. Can you pull it off? What do you think, Joe?
It's going to be a bit of an ask for Curtis because he starts all the way down in 15th. I think at the moment, if you were to bet at this point in time, you'd probably say Patel's the favourite, considering he's got a bit of momentum going into him and the fact that he's starting quite close to the front. But whether he'll win the title is another question.
My prediction is that Ruslan Protsik is going to win the race, but he's not going to have the fastest lap, which means that I will go to either Curtis or Patel. That's my prediction. Could yet be wrong, of course. But this last story is yet to be written. Let's see what the grid is like for today's race, Joe.
Indeed so. Let's do it.
Well, qualifying was a bit of a nail biter. Ruslan Protsuk desperately needed pole because that would have been 4 points, but he didn't get it. Max Killen in Hightech's last race of the season, of course, the new team that came onto the grid this season. He took Hightech's first pole. Ruslan Protsuk, very disappointed to miss out on those 4 bonus points. If he wants to salvage his championship chances, he needs that win and that fastest lap. Nothing else will do. Joel Larson in the Trident, hoping to do his best to bring home the team style for Trident, and even more importantly, hoping to help his teammate Aaron Curtis by keeping Rahul Patel, who is in fourth, behind him.
Then in P5, we have Lorenzo Tomaselli in the Campos, followed by Santino Andrioli in the first of the Premas in 6th. Henry Watson will start in 7th for ART, with Bent Valdinger in 8th in the second Prema.
Yes, indeed. In P9, it is Kyle Burns, the man who denied Patel victory at Laguna Seca of an incredible defensive drive. And I will also touch on Kyle Burns because he also denied Patel pole position at Belgium. Sure, Patel won that race, but the two of them said the exact same time in qualifying. Burns said it first back then, which meant he got the 4 bonus points. Those 4 bonus points could prove to be Patel's undoing should he lose this championship, but I will hope he wins it, of course. Then his Graf is in P10, the man who won here last season. Can he do a similar job, or will he struggle this time? As Pernian in P11, hoping he can help his teammate and to deliver the team style and hopefully get himself a Renault seat if things go his way. Gabriel Quintino in front of his home fans, sitting in P12.
And it's an all Carlin, row number 7, with Hento Sinanem in 13th and Hoang Min Nguyen in 14th position. Carlin fell out of the team's title yesterday, so it's only just Univirtuosi and Trident who are left to fight it. Aaron Curtis with a lot of work to do if he wants to win the championship in 15th position, with Joseph Frederick Suto in 16th in the Charoux.
I would like to touch on anchors just a little bit because last season, while the decider was here in Brazil, considering the fact that none of the contenders back then, Corby and Anderson, none of them scored, the effective decider was in Mugello, that incredible race in the mixed conditions, where Dudu Corby took victory from 15th on the grid. That race won Corby the championship last season. Now Curtis is in 15th on the grid. Can he pull a similar championship winning drive? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, another person who was quite a talking point until yesterday was Adam Chobot. He could have remained in the championship fight, but he is now out of it. He's in P17 on the grid. Muhammad Usman Hamid right behind him in 18th. Luca Farina, who won the first race of the season and the first race of the second half of the season, is in P19 with Nicholas Zorbak in HWA's last race, P20 on the grid.
On the last row to go, we have Wojciech Kulizek in the Dams and Alex Broster, the last of the HWAs, in 22nd and last. Not a great qualifying in HWA's last ever race.
No, definitely not. 43 laps of action are in front of the drivers. And what weather will this final GP2 race be held in? It is time to look at the weather. It is going to be bone dry with a slight chance of rain towards the end of the race. Don't forget, tire wear is crucial at this track because it's got a lot of medium and high speed corners, sending a lot of energy to your tires. So you have to be fast while being mindful and preserving your tires as much as you can. Tire management will be key uh, towards winning this race. And let's see what is going to happen. It's a short run down to the first corner, but a run that could decide everything. If Ruslan Protsuk can get the lead and then streak away into the distance and somehow win the race with fastest lap, could do him a whole lot of good. We'll see what's going to happen.
It should be pointed out that it is light rain that may come towards the end of the race. Whether it will wetten up the track, though, towards the end and add a little bit of element towards this title decider, we will have to wait and see, of course.
Yes, indeed. Well said, Joe. As it's quite a long loading screen. Clearly, the game doesn't want to let go of GP2 just yet. But here we go. For one last time in the GP2 era, uh, we have we're just getting ready, and I'm getting emotional just commenting over this because we're never going to see GP2 again. We're going to see F2 soon enough. But until then, one last dance. Here we go, our last hurrah. 5 larts are out, and we're racing for one last time in GP2. Maxian seems to have a tentative start. Protsuk might get the jump on him in towards the first corner, but look at Warson. He's had a great launch. Protsuk goes for it nevertheless, and he misses out on taking the lead. Patel holds on to P4. That's very good for him, as where is Curtis? He's dropped down to 16th, jostling for position there. The car in front of him, that is just very suitable. As now Joe Warson is pushing right off the bat, going after Ruslan Protsuk. As you can get the Russian into the Lago, he's got him, yes. That could be key for Trent in the team's championship. And Protsug not good for him. He needs to win this race. As Curtis is struggling, he's in P16 right now. Skillin extending his advantage as Patel is right behind Wisdom Protsug right now. He needs to be careful with him.
Indeed so. I should point out in terms of the team's fight as well, Perinin actually gained a place as well, so now both Univirtuosis are now in the points.
Yeah, indeed. Either way, the gap was like 22 points, so Trent are gonna have to score points with both cars really, if they want any hope of winning this. Unless Joel Watson goes for the win, which he might just be able to do right now because he's pressuring Max Skillen quite aggressively. Both of them, the same amount of fuel, 24.2 laps that is. So this is not a fight influenced by fuel load or anything, it's a straight up fair fight. And who's gonna have the advantage? Joel Watson's had a brilliant first lap, and let's see if he can take the lead at the end of it.
Going at the slipstream, Skillen though going very defensive, although Watson might find a gap on the inside. Can he grab the lead? Side by side they go. Meantime in the background, Protsute finding off from Protsute, but Skillen's just going to hold on for the moment.
But there's no reason for Patel to fight Protsuk this hard. He knows what's at stake as Zorbak makes the move, Pasternomy to get himself into 19th position.
Indeed so. Meantime, Watsel's on the inside of one of the Premers. This is Valdinger he's having a go at. His meantime just behind. Graf is having to fend off from Perinin. As meantime, Nguyen currently not able to find a way through at the moment, as that is Chobot losing a place to Luca Farina. But at the moment, as it stands, Patel will win the championship.
Yes, indeed he will. Protsuk needs to climb 2 places and get that fastest lap, but it doesn't look like either of those are going his way. As for Curtis, he just needs to get closer to Patel, climb some positions, which is not happening right now. So I guess Aaron Curtis's best hope would be having to pray that something bad happens to Patel.
While the top two are starting to break away, it seems at the moment. Meantime, Patel, I should point out, has dropped a little bit back from Proxy. He may have to worry about Tomaselli in a little bit.
Yeah, indeed. Joe Larson can help Aaron Curtis plenty by denying Patel some key points in this race. But what will Larson do? Will he just hold up Patel and try to compromise his race? Or will he gun for the win himself for a second win? As Tomaselli now dives past Rahul Patel into the first corner, Henry Watzel says the fastest lap. There's not Protsiuk, so that's a very vital detail. Keep a close eye on that, of course.
So Patel is now dropped down to 5th as a result of Tomaselli moving up into 4th as Chobot there. Looks like he's got the place back of Farina at this point in time.
Patel's losing another place. Here comes Andrioli, the man who took the fastest lap from him in Laguna Seca, takes another 2 points for him, sends him down to P6. And don't forget, Rahul Patel has to finish at least P8 to pass Aaron Curtis this tally, and here he is in 16th.
He's currently stuck behind his own train at the moment, but so far it's still Patel's to lose at the moment, especially with Protsy, who seems to be losing time to the top 2 all the time.
Yeah, indeed. Protsuk would need something to happen between the front two, say a collision, but even that wouldn't be enough. He needs to have the pace for the fastest lap, which I doubt he has right now. As Zorbak has just made a move with Luca Farina for P18.
In time, look at this, Watzel all over the back of Patel now. This is not exactly what Patel needs right now. He can't afford to be dropping backwards. Meantime, we've got a battle for the lead.
Here goes Joel Larson, and he's tucking back into the slipstream there. A little bit too eager to make a move as Protsuk is under a heap of pressure from Lorenzo Tomaselli. He's not letting it go easily as Watzel now attacks the British Indian driver for Patel. To the first corner, Patel holds on. He needs 8th to take the title as long as Curtis is not scoring.
At the moment, he's fending off from another car. Meanwhile, Farina is continuing to drop back as now that's Kulizic trying to find a way through, which he's able to do so.
Very nicely around the outside. As here goes Tomaselli onto the podium places. That's another place lost for Protsuk. The win and the championship getting further away from him.
This graph there moving up into P8. He's got by on, I think that was, I'm trying to remember.
Curtis lost another place. Chobot overtook him.
Indeed so, but Skillen's still fending off on the lead at this point in time. But so far, the championship contenders definitely not performing well at this point.
I think this has been Max Skillen's worst season to date in GP2. However, he can definitely make up for it. In the last race, he can just hold on to the win, though he's got a very hungry Kiwi right behind him. Personal best in both sector for Max Skillen, but that's not going to do him any much good because here comes Joel Larson with the slipstream.
Indeed, but I think he's a little bit too far back if I'm being totally honest with you, so I think Skillen is just going to hold on for the moment. He just seems like he's got just enough traction coming out of Young Cow to just keep him behind at this point.
Yeah, but he might have a shot yet into our turn 4 as Watzel had a little look at Patel, but Patel was shut the door there and forcing Watson to lift off the throttle to avoid the collision. As Hesperian is making a move on Ben's Valga for P9, could be good points to the team's championship, which go his way.
Up into P9 goes the 2019 BTCC champion, who of course handed the title over now to Andrei Sazonov yesterday. As Zorbach has just passed Curtis, that's another place loss for the Irishman.
Could be yet another one because watch for Kulisic attacking him right behind, as Watson sends Patel down to P7.
Indeed, the championship contenders seem to be struggling so far. It just seems like Curtis, Patel and Protsi just don't seem to have any pace so far. As meantime, Roaster gets out of last place, pushes Hamid down there.
Indeed, as things stand, Rahul Patel would win the championship by a mere 3 points from Aaron Curtis.
Indeed he would. As meantime, Watterson just struggling to get any sort of traction off of the onto Skillen right now, and well, he just can't seem to have an answer with him right now. Let's not forget as well, one thing you didn't point out yesterday, Rob, which I'm quite surprised about, because you are quite good with your facts with GP2. Skillen actually took pole here last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he? Oh, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, he did. Now that you mention it.
While Graf is having a go at Patel, meanwhile, Patel could try and get his teammate involved to try and help him out if he can.
Well, don't forget, if Patel drops down to P9, he loses the championship. And who's in P9? Is Hesperian. So as long as he can hold position, that'll be the driver styling Patel's camp. As Garbel Contino makes a good move, get himself Pascal Burns for 13th place.
Meantime, Dennis Graf is now on the inside of Rahul Patel. He's going to look to the inside. Can he pull the move off? And yes, he can. So, we can't lose another. There'll be team orders at Univirtuosi to prevent Perinen from getting by Patel, because I'd argue Perinen's got faster pace than Patel at this point.
Yeah, indeed. As things stand, Rahul Patel will win the championship by 1 point. But if he loses just 1 position, he's done for.
Indeed, because then it will hand back to Curtis. As Flo even says, does Perinen care though? That's the point, because let's not forget, Perinen has got his own fight to deal with. Let's not forget, this isn't just a fight for the GP2 title we've got to worry about. There's some guys in this field. It's also for seats as well, because Perinen is in the fight for the Renault seat, so maybe he wants to make some progress to try and get himself into a position where he could potentially become Evan Burns' teammate next season, but we'll have to wait and see on that. As meantime, speaking of Univirtuosis, not Univirtuosis, this is actually a championship contender though, because Andrioli is now having a go at Protsiuk.
Patel's been passed.
Perinen's up to 8th as Andrioli has got up into 4th position, so Protsiuk drops another place. So right now, the championship is back in Curtis's hands.
He's paying attention now. That's a very angry Univirtuosi team. And a very
got him
angry
at Young Cow, actually. He got him at Young Cow because Patel actually locked up going into there.
Yeah, indeed. And I don't think Hesperian cares about it one bit. He is fighting for not with anyone on the track. He's rather fighting with Roman Quag, who just won the DTM title, of course. He's fighting with that guy for the DTM title, so he needs to do his best. Sure, he has the advantage of being the Renault test driver. The seat is by no means confirmed yet, as Henry Watson makes a move on Protsiuk for 5th place.
Championship contenders are just struggling right now. What is going on with these 3 today?
I'm not sure, but this plays right into Curtis's hopes. He may lose another place, but it doesn't matter because Patel just won't get the points to overwhelm his championship tally right now.
Indeed so. It might need a case of fresh tyres if Patel wants to win the championship, because right now he seems to be struggling with this stint. This Protsiuk could lose another place, this time to Dennis Graf.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Patel is under pressure for Harman Nguyen. I think Rahul Patel is going to have to pray for some chaos further up front, so he can get himself back into that 8th place spot.
Indeed so, as going up the hill now, then we'll go Graf as he'll try and line up Protsiuk for a pass for P number 6 now. Then he looked to the outside, going through the long sweeping left-hander. He's now
switching.
Back to the... I don't think it's a good idea, because Protsiuk's just going to chop him off as they go down the pit straight. And in fact, Flo's just brought up a good point. Maybe the contenders have gambled for potential rain towards the end of the race. Who knows? And clearly it's not working well for him. As meantime, Valdinger is continuing to go backwards as the home favourite, Gabriel Quintino, gets up into 12th, gets around the outside of turn 2, and that's the position gain for the Brazilian.
Meanwhile, just doing a little bit of math right now, Univirtuosi, things stand as they are, would get 6 points, and trying to get the 18 points with Joe Larson. So at the moment, Univirtuosi would win the team style as Tuto has made the move, and Zorbach is making a move as well. Burns goes off track, and Zorbach is taking the place. But should Joel Larson win the race, the title could head to Trident Sway, and he's been right on the back of Max Gillen this entire race.
My internet, as it just kind of lagged there on my end, but luckily you were still talking before I got back. So, as meantime, though, look at Watterson. Saying, Rob, sorry?
I said all right.
Okay, meanwhile, look at Watterson now. This is probably the closest he's ever been now to Skillen. This is probably his best chance to get the place off him.
Indeed, let's see if he's got him into the first corner. Joel Larson leads. He won at Monza, now he's chasing his second victory.
Meantime, Graf's still stuck behind Proxy, and he could be dragging Perinin into that fight very soon. Meantime, Sinanome on the inside of his teammate Min, but Nguyen thinks better of it. He holds on to that final point.
Just to note, Rahul Patel has pulled away a little bit for Harmin Nguyen. This is good for him. He's in P9. He would miss out on the championship as things stand. At just 1 point, but if something happens to a person in front, as Graf makes a move on Protyuk, if something happens to anybody in front, Patel will be back in a championship winning position.
Well, indeed, as meantime, Kulizek gets by on Kyle Burns there. Burns just seems to be struggling in this race, given the fact that in the last few races, Burns seems to be on form.
I wonder if Jesus Perignon would crash somebody out to help Rahul Patel. I don't think he's even thinking about it the slightest, but who knows? Whenever Virtuosi might lose both championships as things stand. So who knows if Perignon is going to be a team player, or he's going to go out and fight for his own seat chances.
I think it may be the latter, because I'm pretty sure Jesus wants to be in the top class next season with Ra, because that would be a big achievement for Virtuosi if both drivers could make it through into the top class. But he's now lining up Proxy for potentially a pass. He's going to look to the outside, maybe flick it back to the inside as Watson now sets the fastest lap. And, well, he's going to try and flick it back to the inside, maybe try and outbrake Proxy into the first corner. Let's see. Nope. He's going to wait for the next straight.
As things stand, meanwhile, Larson will pick up 25 points for Trident, and that would mean whenever Virtuosi would still lead by just 3 points, as Jobot is now making a move on Kyle Burns.
Indeed so, as well, this is doing it at the same time, though, with Proxy and Perinin swapping. This is allowing Patel to get back on the prowl of them, meanwhile.
What for Sinanome making a move?
He's up into 10th, he's past his own teammate, as Zorbak gets up into 14th. He wants to give HWA a good send-off, as Curtis is actually starting to make a move now.
He's gone past Adam Chobot, got back in front of him. Farina is trying the same, but unsuccessfully.
Indeed, as meantime, back to this battle for 7th between Proxy and Perinin, as Perinin is doing whatever he can to try and secure Virtuosi's team title right now.
As things stand, he's doing well enough. Larson got maximum points. Another moment, whenever Virtuosi would win the title by 3 points. That would be entirely down to Perignon's position right now, because if Patel were to finish P9 with Perignon outside the points, that would give the title to Trident. But to tell you what, Joe, Protyuk's pace appears to be worse than Patel's. As long as Patel can just climb 1 place, he'll be in the title winning position, as now his teammate tries to make a move on the Russian, but he keeps him at bay. Then his Graf sets the new fastest lap.
17.964 for the German, as Perinin is trying to put Proxy under so much pressure. Can he potentially try and line him up for a pass into turn 4? I think he's got a good chance to do it, you know, Rob.
It looks that way. Let's see which way he's going to go. He's going to the left, not wasting any time, but can he get him on the brakes, says Perignon. He's going to go for it, you know. He has gone for it and taken 7th place.
Question is, can Patel now get a hold of Proxy, who can get himself back into a championship winning position?
Protyuk, I think he realizes he doesn't have a chance at the title anymore. There's no way he's winning the race, let alone setting the fastest lap. But if he can't be the king, he may be the kingmaker. If he lets Patel go, Patel will win the championship. If he doesn't let him go, Curtis will win the championship. Which way is Protyuk going to pick?
Who knows, really. As meantime, we've got an intense battle going on here between Andreoli and Watzel for 4th position. Andreoli currently having a good race so far, but Watzel wants that position.
Yes, indeed. And Henry Watson set the string of fastest laps earlier on in the race. He doesn't have it anymore, but he's very hungry to get that position. Let's see if he can pull it off. Also watch Tomaselli getting off his back of Skillen. As here goes Henry Watson, not close enough to make the move.
And Andreoli just going to hold on for the moment now then, as they make their way through into the S's now then. As meantime, Patel's having to fend off from Sinanome. This is not good news for him.
No, definitely not. As Suto has made a move on Carlo Quintino around the outside of the 2nd corner. He's done it well. Watch for Watzel. He's going to make the move on Andreoli. And the Frenchman puts no substantial central defense. Now then, Patel could be dropping another place to Hento Sonome, and this is quite bad. However, even if he finishes 10th, Patel can still take the title, providing he sets the fastest lap. So that's easier said than done.
Curtis has gained another place. He's definitely getting a move on now, just in case Patel does get up into any more positions. So, yeah, that's that really. In the meantime, Graf is getting up close now to the back of Andrioli.
As things stand, Patel needs to climb 2 places. However, with Perrin and P7, it doesn't matter where Patel finishes. United Trusty have done enough as things stand to take the team style at the very least.
Indeed so. As in fact, Graf, will he try? I don't think he's close enough to go for him. I think he might try and see if he can try and get a little bit better on the brakes into the first few turns and try and see if he can get him onto the back straight. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, indeed. Patel's now under attack from Hyman Nguyen. He could drop at the points like this. Let's see if he can hold on. The Vietnamese driver is not close enough just yet to attack the British Indian driver. As Chobot is struggling, he's all over the place trying to fight Kyle Burns. Burns has had a brilliant end to the season, but this race is not going his way really.
No, definitely not. And, well, it just seems like he's just got no pace on this stint. Whether he can pick it up in the second stint, we'll have to wait and see. But Chobot had to back off there, and he's putting prowl to Luca Farina, who we touched on yesterday. It's just, he had a good start to the season, but some reasons just dropped off.
Yeah, he does have the joint most wins of all the drivers with 2, but he hasn't been consistent, and that's why he's not a championship contender. Nevertheless, he's made that move for Chobot, for what it's worth.
I'll look at this, Andrioli and Graf fighting it out for P number 5, and they make their way through into the hairpin. If they're not careful, Perinen's going to close up if they keep fighting.
There's definitely no shyness in Dennis Graf. He's been very good here. 2 years ago, he was on the podium with Jake Galloway in MP Motorsport 1-2. He was second. Last year, he took his first ever victory. Now, he may not be close enough to take that victory, but he's definitely pushing very hard. Let's see if he can take that position here now.
Well, I think he might wait until the back straight though, providing he does well on the brakes.
A little bit of purposing a little earlier for Graf, but he's kept the car straight.
I'm not sure if these GP2 cars ever had ground effect. I'm not 100% sure really. But anyway,
it did feel like it bounced up and down a little bit, but in any case, this should be an easy pass for Dennis Graf.
It should be if he gets late on the brakes, though. That is the question, and he will do indeed. Up into 5th place goes Dennis Graf. Now can Jesus Perinen catch up on Andrioli? In the meantime, Synonyms on the back of Protsiuk.
Here goes Gabriel Quintino, meanwhile fighting with just Ferric Suto for 13th. Has he got him? Yes, he's got him.
Meanwhile, it looks like Curtis is getting away from that little group that he was fighting with. Farina's on the inside of Burns, and that's P18 for the Italian.
Yes, indeed it is. Yes, indeed it is. Meanwhile, look at this little scrap. Hento Sonome is all over the back. Over some Protsiuk into our middle sector. He'd be trying to make something work at the Pato, I think that corner was called. There's a lockup for Protsiuk, but Sonome doesn't try the Lewis Hamilton.
Ruslan is really struggling on this stint, it's fair to say. And we said that Curtis was struggling, but it seems like he's now starting to pick up the pace. He probably should have had that pace a little bit sooner, if I'm being totally honest with you, but better late than never, I guess.
Either way, no harm, no foul.
Meantime, Synonome tried to have a little go there, but Protsiuk saying no to that.
I don't think he'll be able to get him here now.
So, whoa, that was a bit of a late defence there from the Gun. As Kulizek now then on the inside of Benz Valdinger, and that's P15 for the Czech driver, who it's fair to say has had a very tricky season, Rob.
Yeah, indeed. His best showing was at home, actually, where he got his highest amount of points at Brno. But yeah, I think he'll be hoping to do better next season. As Protsiuk has been overtaken by Sonome, and Suta has made his way past Quintino.
Yep, so that's another place lost for Protsiuk. Whether Patel can catch back up to the back of him is another question. As Chobot has passed Burns, and Broster and Hamid keep on swapping, it seems, at the back.
Yeah.
So we're back,
meanwhile, very eager to get a move on Hyman Nguyen. We'll have to wait and see if we can get him at start next lap.
Do want to point out though, Tomaselli has been slowly closing in on Max Skillen. The gap now just 1 second. It could be under a second very soon.
If I'm not wrong, I think about 3 or 4 laps ago, he was just 7/10 down. He might have dropped back just a little bit, but he's definitely hard on his heels. As Graf sets the fastest lap.
another fastest lap for the German, I think I said a 1:17.927. As
Yeah,
now
got that
Zorbach is on the
spot on.
inside. Now he's on the inside of Nguyen, and that's going to be pre-11, I think, for Zorbach, and it is.
Yes, indeed it is. Zorbach's not had the greatest seasons. In fact, I think he might find this his worst GP2 season, but he's doing his best in the last race. As Hamid passes Alex Broster. Broster had a very, very promising preseason where he topped both days. The season itself was just a disappointment as he drops down to last.
Indeed, it just seems like when it comes to the race conditions, he just hasn't been on it. Meantime, Nguyen has lost another place, this time to Jose Frederic Suto.
Yep, the Slovakian trying his damn hardest to get some points today. Suto's highlight of the season was definitely that win in Portimao, but ever since then he just lacked all sorts of consistency. He didn't do quite well.
No, definitely not. As now Suto will try and close up onto Nicholas Zorbach if he can, who's at the same time trying to close up onto one of the championship contenders, Rahul Patel.
Yeah, indeed. Patel is in P10 right now. It's not going to be enough, but he's going to have to pray that something happens up front, because if he gains 2 positions, he'll be back in that crucial P8.
Meanwhile, look at this. Perinen is all over the back of Andrioli in the back of the 6th.
Yes, indeed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Andrioli race in BDTC with Burnham last season?
No, he was in Formula E last season.
Alright, my bad. Well, in any case,
Right.
they are racing each other now.
The one driver he did fight, who was in BTCC with last season, there were 2 of them. That was Adam Chobot and Wojciech Kulazek. As meantime, Perinen on the inside
Okay,
of
fair
Andrioli.
enough.
As now, can Perinen get P6? He most certainly can. Up into P6 goes the Spaniard.
At this point, I don't think he cares about the team's championship. I don't think he cares about his teammates' chance at the Drivers' Championship. He's just doing his own thing as Bernard, and you have to respect that for what it's worth.
Especially as we mentioned a few times now, he is gunning for a top-class seat, especially given he's in a fight with Roman Quag for the Renault seat.
When we find out or not, it will be next week, of course, in the final team news, which we will record. I'm not sure when, but we will record it myself and Show as we usually do.
It will be on the Sunday, Rob, because Yuri is getting drunk on the Friday night. So
Sure, fair enough.
Typical Yuri for you. But anyway, as look at this, Patel is really struggling now.
Yeah, Zorbach is all over the back of him. He's got a decent exit, but he won't be getting a lot of slipstream. Well, he's all tucked up in his gearbox.
Indeed, so can he get the move done? As I do like.
He's going for the outside here. That's very bold. And having to back out. Well, now switching to the inside, he's going to have to get him on the brakes. Doesn't have the overlap. I didn't have a confidence on the brakes either. As Joe Larson continues to build a very healthy lead, might I add.
Indeed so, as Zorbach will now try and line up Patel perhaps into turn 4, and I think he's got a good opportunity to do so.
Indeed so. Let's see if he can get him and send the championship contender out of the points. And next year's Lamborghini driver, of course. Yes, he can.
As indeed, so this is not good news for Rahul Patel indeed. It's now like Aaron Curtis, he now finds himself outside of the points.
Nevertheless, with Bernard where he is, and I virtuosi don't have to worry. They will take the team's title. But the driver's title, it's not going their way at the moment.
Indeed, as they now make their way through these swooping right-hand corners. I was talking about how Tomaselli was closing up a little bit on Skillen, but he is slowly gaining onto him, but not as much as I was anticipating.
No, definitely not. Skillen doing a good job with his tire management right now, it seems. Doesn't appear to be experiencing a lot of wear, but Joe Larson just pulling away at the front. He's been having an excellent race so far, as Patel is now under pressure from Suto. He could lose that 11th position.
Could indeed, as Suto tries to go to the inside, but Patel blocks it off, so I think Suto will probably wait for turn number 4, given how the AI usually react when it comes to turn 1 overtakes after somebody cuts across.
I wonder if Patel is gambling on a rain dance, or can I stay his fuel as a matter of fact? Because I want to know what it's like compared to the others.
Well, it's actually quite less, in fact, so I'm a bit surprised by his pace.
Yeah, I was expecting that pace could have been down to an alternate strategy, but no, he's just been slow today, and it's on the same straight line as Curtis. You just saw him there in the background.
Curtis now up into 16th position, as we just saw
Patel down to 12.
Patel lose a place to Suto, as meantime Senonome is now trying to close up onto Santino Andrioli.
Speaking of Senonome, he and Zorbach are going to pit this lap. Look, it'll be the first stops of the day.
Indeed so, as yeah, we've got some pit calls. Who's that in the top three? It is Lorenzo Tomaselli who's pitting this lap.
He's gambled on a very light strategy, but didn't quite catch Dillon and pass him. In fact, Watson's caught him. Tomaselli's going to come in now. Let's see how much he can gain or lose with this undercut.
To see his meantime, look at this, Zorbach now all over the back of Protsyuk.
It's not going to go. It's not exactly Ruslan Protsyuk's day, I'm afraid, and he's going to be passed by the same driver who ruined his chances at pole yesterday by holding him up in the final flying lap.
No, man, as I think it's actually is that Zorbach who's also into the pits as well? I think that is a pink car in the background that's coming in.
Has to be Zorbach because Brosser is all the way at the back.
So Zorbach is in, 3 cars are in. In fact, I think that is also a Prema that's also into the pits, although I do think that might be Valdinger that's in, not Andreoli.
Definitely is Valdinger. 8.5 seconds stop for Henderson and while will Zorbach get 27 laps of fuel, 8.7 seconds. Patel could get a little bit of an overcut over these guys. Nothing major, but anything helps in his quest to try to regain P8.
Zorbach and Valdinger finish off their pit stops as Skillen and Joel Watterson will continue on. They've still got quite a bit of fuel left in their tanks, it's fair to say. As
I think Joel Watterson is having the time of his life right now.
Indeed so, as Chobot now then just making his way out of the pit lane now then. You can tell just how short the track is given that the leader is about to start the next lap.
Absolutely right. Kind of reminds you of IndyCar on the ovals sometimes. In any case, Cullen has done a very good job so far to hold on to second, but he might have a lot of pressure from Henry Watzel behind.
Well, you got to remember as well, before the pit stops, he had Tomaselli behind him as well, so Tomaselli could even get the jump on him once that Skillen makes his pit stop.
Or Tomaselli could be jumped by all of these guys, depending on how strong the overcut is.
I'll have to wait and see, of course, as Watzel makes his way through into
Very
turn
well
4.
said.
Indeed so, as Protsyuk, meanwhile, is obviously in 7th position, obviously yet to make a pit stop, but he has got, that is Jose Frederic Suto closing him down.
Yeah, indeed. As in the meantime, Skillen's still doing a good job, and has this guy just gone a little bit darker, or is that just...
I'm not really sure, to be honest. It still looks a bit bright over there, but who knows, maybe. Maybe it's just the clouds just getting in the way of the sun. Who knows?
Yeah, that could be the case. As anyway, Broster is into the pits now, who's bringing up the rear of the field. 8.6 second stop for him. There is another pit call I didn't catch for whom though.
Looked like somebody who was in the midfield, I believe, so I'm not 100% sure who that might be, and it looks like it's going to be Hamid, in fact, because it's a red pit indicator came up on Protsyuk's car, so I think it's Hamid that's coming into the pits.
Yeah, indeed. Meanwhile, Juan Nguyen is going to find himself under some pressure from Gabriel Quintino. Let's see if the Campos man can make his way through. Isn't going to shut the door into Kyle left-hander? Yes, he is. But he's going to have to try into turn 4. He's not close enough for 1.
While Tomaselli on the fresher tyres is now all over the back of Kyle Burns. Could he possibly line him up for a move into turn 1? I don't think he's close enough, so I think he'll wait for turn 4.
He needs to get the job done quickly, because don't forget, he is in a direct fight with some of his rivals for the podium places. He cannot afford to waste even a second behind this guy. Let's see if he can clear Burns onto the Reta Posta.
Indeed, let's see, he's in the slipstream of the American right now. He's going to dart to the inside, but Burns trying to defend, and he's going to chop him off. This is not good news for Tomaselli as he's trying to jump Skillen.
I think Burns is reliving his Laguna Seca victory. He's going very defensive, just like he did against Patel that day. But yeah, Burns right now is he's not racing Tomaselli, so I don't understand why he's doing this. But I guess people do what they want, so that will be Kyle Burns' justification.
Meanwhile, Patel and Curtis are coming into the pits this lap, so 2 of the championship contenders coming in as Burns has a lockup going into the hairpin.
Patel is going in P8, of course, but that's not for real. No, he's in P9, sorry. I think it's not for real because he has the pit, and now he comes into the pit. So this was some Protsyuk, actually.
In fact, so all 3 championship contenders then are coming into the pits this lap. It's Curtis.
They're sharing the same pit lane, and that ain't that cute.
Indeed so. Let's see who's going to be the quickest out of these 3 then.
The championship fight going all the way to the pit lane, though, considering the permutations and everything. As of right now, there is not much of a fight anymore. As of right now.
See, could Patel potentially jump Protsiuk? I think he will do.
Yes, he's got him, and that's one more position for Patel. If he can get into P8 by the end of this race, I don't know, as Tomaselli has finally cleared Burns. That'll be his pain gone.
Indeed, so Patel has jumped Protsiuk in the pits thanks to garage advantage, but where that will put him out in the race, we'll have to wait and see once everyone makes their pit stops.
Well, there goes Kurz joining just in front of Benz Valdinger.
Valdinger was, I'm trying to remember whereabouts he was in the race, I'm not sure, but meantime, Watterson and Skillen are in the pits and so is
towards the
Perinin.
back. Yeah, indeed. 3 people were in the top 6 coming in at the same time. And don't forget, a few of these guys, not Arsen, but the others, were racing with Tomaselli, so that could be interesting. Anyway, here comes the race leader into the pits. As of right now, Trident will not take the team's championship, but if something happens to Perinin, they just about might be able to, assuming Warson holds on to the win. Here goes Perinin. What is this stop going to be like? It's a 7.8 second stop.
See where the Spaniard comes out as Quintino and Kulizek come into the pits.
Indeed, these guys were behind Patel to begin with, so I wouldn't be surprised if they would join behind him, of course.
Let's see, it's Synonyms actually quite close to Perinin, so this could actually be quite close between the pair of them. Let's see. I think Perinin, though, will stay in front. He will do.
Yeah, it was a big gap. But Tomaselli, I think he's been jumped, hasn't he? Or no, no, he wasn't. Oh, no, where's Watzel? I think Watzel pitted as well, didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah, I think Watzel's pitted. I'm not 100% sure. Is he leading the race? I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, he's leading. My bad. I didn't catch his name there.
But he's pitting this lap anyway. Yeah, Graf's going to stay out. Graf will take the lead for the brief time, but of course he still needs to pit.
Yeah, meanwhile Patel's in the provisional 14th place. Has a little bit of bouncing for Graf there again. And in comes Henry Watzel.
You can tell how bumpy Brazil is. It's kind of what the nature of this track, really. It was known for it back in, I can't remember what year it was. It's very known for its bumps, this track is.
Joe, I suggest we give everyone a Mercedes contract with all the bumps they're feeling.
I feel sorry for the 2 drivers driving the Merc this season, to be honest. I don't know how they're managing to drive it without a headache.
Well, George Russell did complain about some back pain after all that porpoising, just like Kimi Räikkönen in 2013, I guess, though for different reasons.
Meanwhile, Perinin on the fresher tyres, he's trying to put Carl Burns, who's clearly on a very long strategy.
But where will Watzel be here? Will he be in front of Tomaselli? He's just behind Skillen, so he couldn't quite get a jump on him, but he got the jump on Tomaselli indeed. As watch for Perinin, he's making a move on Carl Burns, the car yet to pit, of course. Can Perinin get him? Yes, he can.
The interesting thing enough, Perinin is actually not far from those guys, so could Perinin perhaps get a podium out of this?
He might be able to make it work, we'll see, as Patel is still behind just for Exuto. Meanwhile, batch of pit calls, I believe Graf is in.
Graf is in, he's coming into the pits. I'm not sure about Andreoli and Min, but we'll have to wait and see, of course.
I think them and Farina will be pitting as well, but I'm not certain. As Warson, very eager to take the lead immediately, doesn't even want to wait for him to make it stop, but he will wait.
Indeed so, as Min is actually coming into the pits, so Watterson will retake the lead.
Be very careful where Graf emerges, because he was in a fight, and he was in P5 before the stops. I wonder if that will remain to be the case. 6.6 second stop, not bad at all, considering what others have had. Warson obviously takes back the lead. Where will Dennis Graf be?
Well, this might be interesting, in fact, because he could emerge where these guys
Watzel just got Skillen.
Watzel's up to second. He's passed Skillen somewhere on the track. So over to P2 he goes, and Graf, I think, is going to rejoin him from the Tomaselli.
Just about.
Is indeed, as he's gained a lot from the pit stops, it's fair to say, Graf.
Yeah, indeed. And once we're done in these pit stops, we're going to have to jump to the replay of Watzel's overtake on Skillen. And turn 1, I believe it was, or we're going to have to see it again.
Indeed. So where did Skillen do the overtake? So I think everybody has now pitted, so let's see where
Watzel
did. Oh, yeah, I got those 2 mixed up. Yes, it was turn 1. You can just about see that.
Very good and confident move. And Henry Watzel looks set to take P2 as things stand, but there's quite a big battle.
Indeed so, but Watzel, I think it's fair to say that he's had a much better season compared to last season. I think it's fair to say, Rob.
Well, he wasn't supposed to be in this, but because of the fake driver thing, our Grand Prix did renew his contract at the very end, and yeah, he got a podium in Belgium to the chagrin of Luca Farina, who felt he could have won that race. And now he's set for another podium, but it's nothing is set in stone. He's still gonna have to battle some guys, especially this dude. And his graph pushing quite hard. He might be getting Mexican at the end of this straight.
Let's see, is he's going to try and have a look at his lap. In the meantime, Watson sets the fastest lap at 117.721.
That'll be another 2 points to try and tally, but it won't be enough. Vernon is doing quite well for himself. Speaking of him, he just takes the fastest lap for himself there.
That was quite ironic there. Perfect timing, Rob.
Thank you there, mate. And then I was going to say, with Vernon in 6th, no matter what Watson does, Virtuosi will take the title. But that was just perfect comedic timing. As here goes Dennis grabbing the Reto Aposta. He's got Max Skillen up into the podium places. He looks set to take his 3rd Brazilian GP podium in a row. Ain't that an amazing run of form here?
Indeed so. As meantime, Kulisic goes all the way around the outside of Valdinger, and that is P16 for the Czech driver.
That was quite impressive. Now let's see if Adam Chabot can follow up.
Indeed, as Farina.
Or if Luca Farina can get past both of them.
He won't. He's got boxed in a little bit. And actually, that is quite sneaky from Farina, up into 18th.
I think Chabot went earlier on the brakes, definitely not feeling the grip.
Meantime, double lock up there for Burns, and they are fresh tyres as well.
Well, speaking of not feeling the grip there.
Meantime, look at Perinen.
He's already gone to the back of Lorenzo Tomaselli. I think he definitely wants that podium. The team style is already won if it stays as is, but he wants that seat. And when you're up against Roman Quag, when you know the history of Roman Quag, you need every last point you can get. Even if Perrin wins this race, it might not be enough. I don't know. But in any case, he's doing his damn hardest to make sure the team that has him as test driver will promote him to that second driver role against Evan Byrne. Let's see if he can get past Tomaselli here, onto the Reto Aposta towards the Serra Lago. Tomaselli is shutting the door aggressively.
Oh, but Perinen is still there. He's going to try and force him wide, and that is brilliant defensive stuff. That's brilliant tactics there from Perinen, and up into P5 goes the Spaniard.
Tomaselli used up all the track and then some to try to keep him at bay, but he couldn't. Zorbach tries the same, and Andreoli gets him.
Andreoli up into P8 now then, as meantime Patelli's still outside the points. But as we speak right now, just getting back onto the championship, Curtis will win the championship if it stays like this, especially now that Protsuk is also outside of the points.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Protsuk is struggling quite some. Patel only needs to climb 3 places, but that's easier said than done, like I said before. Let's see if Zorbach can try to get back past Santino Andreoli.
We'll see though as they now make their way down through the flat-out left-hander, as trying to keep an eye on what's going on at the front at the moment. So far they're kind of spaced out at this point in time, so whether anyone will start gaining we'll have to wait and see. But meantime, Protsuk again struggling on this stint. It just seems like it's just no pace in this race compared to yesterday.
I'm afraid so. I think he was extremely disappointed having been denied pole by a lapped car. Laguna Seca, he missed out on what could have been a pole lap. I'm not saying it would have been a pole lap, but it could have been when he got impeded in the last 2 corners. Because of his improvement lap getting ruined, he had to start outside the points and got just a 1 point in P10. That derailed his championship hopes, meaning he needed a miracle to take it here in Brazil, and that miracle just hasn't arrived.
As meantime, Burns is trying to put Hamid under a bit of pressure, but now here comes Quintino on Protsuk.
I think Protsuk just feels deflated in this race, for lack of a better term, or dejected. He just seems to have no confidence in the car right now. I think yesterday's qualifying definitely impacted his hopes.
Meantime, just looking at the top 5, Perinen took 2 temps out of Skillen, so I think Perinen is actually lapping quicker than Skillen at this point.
Indeed so, but I think no matter how fast the guys behind him go, at the moment, Joe Larson is looking good for a race win.
Indeed so, but we'll have to wait and see. I do believe Perinin still has the fastest lap, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that should be the case.
Oh, we got a yellow flag! We got a yellow flag! Who is it? It's Burns!
His season comes to an end early, and I think he's had a puncture.
It looks like some kind of mechanical failure, that's for sure. Let's have a look and see what it is on the in the steering wheel, if we can.
We will see indeed. And no, it was a transmission problem.
Oh, so a gearbox problem has taken care of Kyle Burns, and well, he has had a very improved season, it's fair to say. Rob came into this race 5th in the Drivers' Championship. Where he'll end up after this, I'm not really sure, but either way,
in any case,
big turnaround compared to last season.
Burns was originally not gonna be on the grid for this season. After a whole fake drivers thing, Charuz gave him a lifeline. He made the most of that lifeline, got himself 2 brilliant victories, and honestly, even if he retires today, I can't blame him. He was my, I think he was my best performer of this season because compared to what I expected, Burns proved a lot of people wrong. Sure, he may retire from today, but he'll go home with his health held up high. As look at this, Curtis is trying to make a move on Pratsiuk.
Indeed, Protsu just trying everything he can to defend the Irishman at this point.
But anyway, thoughts on what I said about Burns earlier, Joe?
I'll just say the same opinion. I mean, I said he's had a much improved season, and well, whether he's on the grid next season, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, just a good season all around for Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's proved all that is wrong. At coming in, he's right behind these two guys trying to scrap the position.
I was trying to have a look to see who had the fastest lap there, but it kind of went off the screen quite quickly there. So
I still think it's in Bernard's graph.
Graph.
Yes,
it's Graph.
No, it's Graph. When did he take it away? In any case, he's got it. You know, Warson has a 5-second advantage from Watzel. We should keep an eye on that gap because with 13 laps to go, that gap could be cut down. Well, for instance, teammate Evan Curtis, current championship leader and champion as things stand, has been passed by Nguyen, but it doesn't matter. Like I told you all at the beginning, if things go Curtis's way, Curtis won't have to do anything. And at the moment, he doesn't even need to finish this race, but just needs Patel not to get E8.
Indeed so, as meantime Kulizik now on the inside of Curtis, and that's another place lost for the Irishman.
2 places in just 1 sector, and could be 3 places in the lap very shortly because here comes Luca Farina. Can he do the Johnson Bond move here into Ferradura? No, he can't.
No, definitely can't. Meantime, the gap between Watzel is, whoa, Kulizik there went a bit wide going through into that flat-out corner there.
Extremely wide, I'll say. I don't think these cars have enough downforce to make it flat, but Pulisic is definitely pushing himself there.
Yeah, it's a good job he saved that, because otherwise that could have been a very nasty crash for the Czech driver.
It would, if he crashed there, it would be in the same place Lewis crashed in qualifying in 2017. So thankfully, Wojtek kept on track.
Indeed so, as meantime, the gap between Graf and Watzel. I always get Watson and Watzel mixed up, I don't know why. Probably because they have a similar sort of last name. But the gap 1.2 seconds between the pair of them at this stage. As meantime, Perinin continuing to catch up on Skillin.
Speaking of Watson, he's cut the gap to Orson down by a few tenths. And Joe, don't worry about you mixing them up. If you can remember a few scenes ago, I always, constantly, stopped Fosbury and Fasheray.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. It seems it's a similar thing with Watterson and Watzel at the moment.
I'm just gonna say thank God they have different nationalities.
It's a good job, yeah, because then we can differentiate between the two. And, of course, a different first name as well, so...
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, let's see what Watson's pace is like. How much is Watzel gaining? He's getting our 10th in the last sector there. I'm not sure if it'll be enough this pace to catch him before the end. But Warson is doing the best he can.
Meanwhile, the gap is now under a second between Watzel and Graf. I think this is going to be soon a battle, if I'm not mistaken. This is actually under a second now between Skillin and Perinin, so we've got 2 battles going on.
Maybe Graf is thinking more than just about P2. Maybe he's thinking about catching Warson and going for the win, as Watzel just got black flagged there for some reason. Thankfully, the black flag is gone.
Yeah, like I said yesterday, just ignore that because some of the files are a little bit mixed up on this track. So ignore that. Yeah, nobody's got a black flag.
Thankfully, though, the pit entry was fixed, so we won't be getting any crashes like the one that Kirby and Jamie Griffiths had last season.
Indeed so, as meanwhile, the gap's still 0.9 seconds, so Graf didn't really gain too much on Watzel in that first sector.
And looks like Warson and Watzel continue to be evenly matched, which is obviously good for the Kiwi because it just needs to hold on to this gap. Doesn't matter if he wins by 5 seconds or if he wins by half second. A win is a win.
Meantime, the gap between Skillin and Perinin is 0.8 seconds. I thought I'd just point that out because I only just caught a glimpse of it down at the bottom. So Perinin continuing to gain on Skillin as we speak. He's
in P11. He's had very strong pace as Jesus, and he's going to try to make the most he can if he wants to get that Renault seat. I don't know. I know I'm having the sign-up process, so I can't say. But what I can say is, the better he does here, the better.
Indeed so, and just trying to work out where Perinin would finish at the moment in the championship if it were to stay like this. At the moment, he'd finish 5th in the championship, if I'm not mistaken. But if he can get ahead of Skillen, he would actually move up to 4th if it stays like this. So, he's definitely climbing up through at the moment, is Perinin. So he has started to lose a bit of time now to Skillen, as I can see there. So he's lost a little bit of time to Skillen in that sector.
Yeah, indeed. But the race is still not over. We've still got 10 laps to go, and anything can happen. Don't forget, Rahul Patel is still 3 places away from the rival P8, so the title fight is not over yet.
Should point out as well, if Perinin finds some place and gets up into 3rd, he could actually beat Protsyuk in the championship. So, given that Protsyuk is outside the point, so something to bear in mind there.
Well, P1 and P2 are out of reach for Hespernia no matter what. If he can get himself into 3rd, that would surely be nice for him.
Indeed so, as Graf, it seems like the gap is sort of stabilised now between Watson and Graf. It seems that Graf just doesn't seem to have a response at the moment. It seems now that Perinin is starting to drop back a little bit from Skillen.
In any case, the slowest of the top 3 is the race leader. Warson has lost a further 4 tenths, so Watson and Graf are definitely coming in tandem.
Indeed so, they got 4.8 seconds. Whether it's going to be enough, though, for them to close up by the end, I'm not sure. Meantime,
that's key. Yeah, because there's a possibility, as Bernian is under 2nd now from Skillen.
He has started to respond a little bit, although he did lose a few thousandths in the last sector there, but not too much. So it seems that Perinin might have had a little bit of a doze there, but it's started to get his put his foot down again. In the meantime, Synonyme's not far behind Tomaselli in the background.
Yeah, indeed. He might be getting just a little bit of tow, but I don't think he'll be close enough to get a move on onto this lap. Maybe on the next one.
Indeed, as they now make their way through these long, swooping right-handers now then. As
looks like P8, P9, and P10 are not too far from each other, but Patel, I think he's got 6 or 7 seconds to climb, I think.
Indeed so, as they now make their way into the hairpin now then, as you can see, look, Perinin is getting just that a little bit later on the brakes compared to Skillen. Let's see what the gap is like this time around as they approach the end of the 2nd sector, and it's down to 0.6 seconds, so Perinin's starting to get a move on.
This will be his first opportunity. Let's see if he'll get past him in his first shot, or if Skillen's going to have to make him wait a while. I don't think Perinin is close enough right now.
But if he can get late on the brakes into the first corner, he might overtake where we've seen most of the overtakes today, which is at turn 4.
Watson's gained the first 2 tenths on the last lap. The gap is down to 4.6, and he's put just a little bit on Graf. The gap between them is 1.2.
It doesn't look like the Perinin will be close enough this time, but if he can keep up the pace that we saw on the last lap, he might have a go at him down the pit straight. We will see.
Patel is 7 seconds behind Suto, I think, meanwhile.
Indeed. So Patel could get himself back into the point, but he could stay in that position, as we've pointed out several times, and try and get the fastest lap. But we will wait and see, of course.
Well, the only way to guarantee the fastest lap would be a late stop, but if he does that, he would throw away track position. If he finishes outside the points, the fastest lap would put him just 1 point behind Curtis, which wouldn't be enough.
No, definitely not. So he's got to really stay on track, really. So luckily the AI does as it's told there on that occasion. So meantime, they're going to go flat out through this left-hander. Can Perinin get close enough this time by Skillen? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Jar, just like Dutch, if it stays as is, and Curtis does win the title by those 3 points he had heading into Brazil, the title will have been decided by just 1/1000th of a second, the one in Belgium, in qualifying.
Indeed so, and to point out as well, if it were to stay like this at the moment, Curtis, I do believe, will become the first ever GP2 driver to win the title without a win.
Has any driver in any tier ever done that? Because it'll definitely be historic.
Julius Anderson in 2016. As meantime, Perinin, look, he's having a go at Skillen. This is the first chance he's had.
Alright, indeed, yeah, he did. Now here goes Bernian. He's going to go for the move. He's got him. Nice and easy.
With the P4 then, goes Jesus Perinin, strengthening his points hold at the moment. As meantime, Protsyuk having to fend off from the Guwen.
Next target for Bernian is Dennis Graf, isn't it? But he might be a little bit far away.
I think that might be a little bit of an ask, if I'm being personally honest with Perinin, because he's over 5 seconds behind Graf, and it seems that Graf is focusing, is basically trying to keep up with Watson at this point. In the meantime, as we're speaking there, the Guwen has got past Protsyuk.
Yeah, indeed. Watzel definitely pushing very hard. Larson doing the best he can to hold on to that lead. 4.3 the gap right now. We'll give you an update as soon as we get one. Pernian, 7 seconds behind Graf. No, he's not going to catch him in time.
I think he's going to need a miracle if he wants to get onto the podium, but you never know. Anything could happen in racing, and it usually does.
Yes, indeed. I think Pernian might just try to do his best to take back the fastest lap from Graf. I don't know, though.
Well, if he does do that, because he's now up into, where is he? He's up into 4th place now, isn't he? So at the moment, he will get 12 points onto his account if it were to stay as it is. So it would put him actually up into 4th. But if he can get the fastest lap, he would actually get above Protsiuk in the championship and move up into 3rd. So 2nd and 3rd would actually do pretty nicely for Univirtuosi.
Obviously, the team style will go their way, as now look at this. Protsiuk holding up a train of cars.
Look at this.
Pulisic trying to make a move, and Farina attacking Curtis. How's this going to play out? Farina gets the move, Pulisic gets the move.
So a lot of movements going on. As now Protsiuk now having to fend off from Luca Farina at this point in time. Can he get the move done on the man who obviously started on the front row, but has clearly dropped backwards in this race? Farina on the inside, and that is P15 for him.
He's got him.
We're going to have a look at the replay of this 2x2 moment here.
It all started with a look up into Junstel from Protsiuk.
And also a little error, it seemed, as well from Kulizek as well, because it looked like he had a little bit of a wiggle going through into the flat-out left-hander. But yeah, very interesting stuff.
Meanwhile, the gap between the front two is down to 3.9. Curtis is going to be out of this race, I think. He's got a problem. Can he get it back to the pit stop? This is not terminal, though.
Might not be terminal because he has got a pit call, but it depends on how quickly he can get it back. But it won't matter anyway, because at the moment he'll still win the championship, even with this mechanical failure.
Indeed so, but this could still be dramatic. Either way.
And Flo just pointed out, if he pits and gets on the fresh tyres, he could have a go at the fastest lap.
Yeah, indeed. Where he gets or not, it won't change much, though, because he'll still win. But I'm sure Hank Curtis is rather thankful he got the problem when the tire was already going his way, rather than when he would have been in a direct fight with Patel, I mean.
But Curtis is making it into the pit, so he'll have a chance at the fastest lap. Sinalo's up to 6th.
He's got him. Antomasai drops down to P7. Great move from Hento there. And I wonder where he ended up in the standings as things stand.
So let me have a look. So he's now up into 6th, isn't he? So he'll have points to his name. He'll be on 81 points, so it would actually put him above Farina in the championship. So he'll actually end up finishing 8th at this point.
Alrighty. 3.8 between the leaders, as Patel is now under attack from Gabriel Quintino and for 11th.
Keep an eye on Curtis, though, particularly on lap 40, because, of course, he'll have the fresh tyres, and I'm pretty sure he'll go after the fastest lap, because if he does that, then the gap will increase to 5 points.
Yeah, if Curtis does get the fastest lap, then Patel will need to finish 7th.
Indeed so. So that would make things a lot more trickier for him. But Curtis has finished his pit stop, but he is a lap down from the leaders as a result.
There might be just one little problem trying to go for the fastest lap. He's going to have to unlap himself from these guys.
Indeed so. Unless he's got a bit of a gap between himself and Graf, then... A good point. But anyway, anything to try and out Trident win the team's championship. But at the moment, even if he does get it, it won't be enough. In the meantime, look at this side-by-side action as Suto gets 9th from Zorvak.
Yeah, indeed, nice move there. But Curtis, I'll tell you what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to take out any of those people, because if he takes out enough cars, that could just put Patel into the position he needs to be in. So I'm definitely sure Curtis will tread carefully on these guys, and not try to unlap himself too aggressively. Cough, Verstappen, Ocon, cough, cough.
As now here comes Quintino on the inside of Patel, and that is P11 for the Brazilian.
Indeed. Let's see if he can still count for a home point, or if that's too much to ask, as Juan Nguyen is pressuring Patel now.
Meanwhile, as Curtis is acting like he's actually going to try and unlap himself, in fact. So let's see if that happens, as we've got 3 laps to go of 2020 for GP2.
I'd say 3 laps to go of GP2 altogether.
Indeed, especially as it rebrands to Formula 2 next season. And of course, next week you'll get to see what the liveries look like for Formula 2.
Yeah, indeed. Meanwhile, Watzel has been pushing quite hard, but he just doesn't have the pace to get to Joel Larson. He's going to have to fight Graf for second, and they have been evenly matched for quite a while. But Curtis could shake things up a little bit. He's going to try to unlap himself from both these guys.
Well, he's up on his personal best. What's that like compared to Dennis Graff, though, ironically, who's actually in front of him? That's going to be a question. Meanwhile, McGowan is now onto the back of Patel.
Indeed so. Rahul Patel, I'm afraid things just haven't gone his way today. But he'll walk with his head up high, I'm sure, because he had an amazing season.
I'm interested to see what it's like between him and Graff right now. Is he up on Graff? Because if he is, he could have a chance of getting the bonus point for the fastest lap. Let's see. His middle sector, is he up on his personal best again? And yes, he is by 2 tenths, but is that going to be enough to get the fastest lap? Let's see.
I'm not sure, but don't forget, he didn't have slipstream on his personal best. He's gonna have it now.
Let's see, as he's going to cross the line. Is Curtis going to get himself 2 extra bonus points to give himself a 5-point cushion over Patel as we start the penultimate lap across the line? And no, he didn't.
That wasn't enough. But it's not like it's gonna matter either way. Patel's too far out.
Indeed so, but he'll keep trying again. He's got 2 more chances to try and get the fastest lap if he can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder how this will interfere with the guys fighting for second and third.
Who knows, really? As now up the hill they go now then. As now Min will now try and have a go at Patel. He's going to try and flick it back to the inside, but Patel saying no to that. I think he's just defending just for the sake of it now.
Yeah, indeed. It'll be his last 2 laps in GP2 either way. He's moving up to Lamborghini in the top class. The new team to start a fancy era. And Patel, I'm not gonna fault him for anything. He did absolutely everything he could this season. I'm sure he'll be dejected with not taking the title, but at least he'll be happy to know whenever it shows he will take the team's title.
Indeed, as Nguyen is now on the inside of Rahul Patel, and that is P12 for the Vietnamese driver.
Indeed. Meanwhile, has Curtis unlapped himself yet from Graf? No, he hasn't. We're about to head into the final lap of this season, and we're gonna get a historic event. We're gonna get a champion without a single win. It's never happened before in the OC, except for when Julius Anderson did in DTM. Now, it's gonna happen for the first time ever in GP2. Joel Warson, Curtis' teammate, ironically he has won a race before this season, and he's gonna win too. He's gonna beat his teammate on wins, but his teammate is gonna beat him and everyone else in the points.
Indeed, I should point out that I think we need to wait for, even though Curtis will cross the line beforehand, we need to wait for someone to cross the line 8th to before confirming the championship. As meantime, speaking of 8th, that's Andrioli demoting Tomaselli down to 8th.
Yeah, indeed. Should we do like what we did with Felipe Massa when he crossed the line at first? You know how the commentators did before the famous "Is that Glock" moment.
I'd rather not, because I don't want to be seen as that.
Well, okay then. In any case, Joel Warson has done a brilliant job so far this race. Fought hard from P3, did everything he could do, and he's gonna take the win, just 1 corner away. Aaron Curtis, meanwhile, we're on board with him, all eyes on him. This race has been a complete disaster, he's been last. However, it doesn't matter, Patel couldn't do enough. Joel Warson coming through for Trident takes his second ever win, but Aaron Curtis is gonna cross the line. He has not won a single race this season, but he didn't have to. Curtis crosses the line, and that should make him the world champion. We'll have to wait though until everyone crosses the line. Perinin, P4. That is the team's championship for Virtuosi. Skillen, P5. Sonome, P6.
Virtuosi have won the team's title. P6 for Sonome, P7 for Andrioli, and there you go.
P8 for Tomaselli. Curtis is champion. Aaron Curtis has done it. He's done the unthinkable. He's won the championship without a single race victory. He could be at Aston Martin next season. We don't know. All we know for sure is that he's been Patel. He's been Pratik and everyone else. He has taken this championship. Rahul Patel unlucky 13th, but he will be second in the championship. Pratik finishes 16th.
Indeed so, and indeed Aaron Curtis becomes the first Irishman to win a title in the OC.
Very, very well done to him.
As Hamid will now cross the line in P number 19. And we've just got one more car to wait for, and that's Alex Broster. And I think, did Zorbak get points in the end in HWA's last race? I'm not sure.
I think he did.
Yes,
he did. He got 1 point in the end there. But Joel Warson is the race winner, trying to finish second in the teams, but they've won the drivers with this guy. If he'll be back next season because he hasn't gotten confirmed for the top class yet. but he might, and he'll begin. If he gets confirmed, he'll get confirmed as a 2020 GP2 OC champion, the last ever GP2 champion. What a season this has been! This race hasn't been the greatest, but it's been a fitting end to a very entertaining season. And here we go. Joel Larson is the race winner. Henry Watson takes second with Dennis Graff. Oh, incredible streak. 3 times in a row on the podium in Brazil. He's been in second, he's been in first, now he's been in third. Hezpernian takes P4, vital points for Ronai Virtuosi to take the team's title, and could be vital points for himself should he get that Renault seat over Roman Quagga. I don't know if he'll get it or not, but we'll see. Max Killen, his best showing of the season, of course, takes P5. And Tosenom takes P6, another good finish for him. Gets him up into P8 in the championship, I think. Santino Andreoli has finished P7, an alright race for him. And in P8, that crucial position, which unfortunately for Rahul Patel did not go to him, is Lorenzo Tomaselli. But please scroll down, Flo. Yes, it's Lorenzo Tomaselli. Just for Exuto is in P9, getting some points here, with Nicholas Zorbach taking HWA's last ever point with P10. Gabriel Quintino is 11th.
I mean, Nguyen is in 12th position with Rahul Patel just missing out on the title in 13th, but at least he knows that he will be in the top class next season. Wojciech Kulesek in 14th with Luca Farina in 15th. Ruslan Prosyu just wasn't his day today, 16th for him. Adam Chobot in 17th with Bent Valdinger in 18th. Then it is Mohamed Osman Ahmed in 19th with Alex Broser in 20th. Aaron Curtis, the new champion, a lap down in 21st position and the first GP2 champion to win without taking a single victory throughout the course of the season. And Kyle Burns, the only retirement thanks to a gearbox failure.
Before we jump to the fastest lap, I just want to point out Kyle Burns has been Aaron Curtis's knight in shining armor this season. Who denied Patel those 4 points for pole in Spa by by saying the same exact time first? Kyle Burns did. Who denied Patel victory at Laguna Seca? Kyle Burns did. That 11-point swing was more than enough for Aaron Curtis to take the title, and I'm sure he'll be sending Burns thank you note after thank you note for helping him do it. Dennis Graff takes the 2 points for fastest lap, meanwhile.
By 71 Fahrenheit, Hayes is Perinin, and we look down to see who was the slowest out of everybody today. Curtis was the 7th fastest, so even the fresh tyres wasn't enough for him. Patel 15th fastest, shows off the pace he was, and Protsu 18th fastest. Broster was the slowest in 22nd.
Yeah. Now then, just quick, we're gonna jump to the national anthem very quickly. But first, I want to ask you, Joe, what do you think of Curtis' season? Because I think he was extremely consistent, especially early on. He led for most of it, and in the end was just about enough to take it. And I think he will definitely call Burns his knight in shining armor. What do you think?
Indeed, I was just going to say one word to describe his season: consistency. Whether it will be enough for him, though, to be in the top class, because let's not forget he is in contention for the Aston Martin seat and, of course, the Alfa Romeo seat as well. He's in contention for 2 seats. We'll have to wait and see. But a fully deserved championship, most consistent, and yeah, well-deserved championship.
I think this will go down in history as the title that was won by 1,000th. But in any case, now it is time for the New Zealand national anthem in honor of Joel Larson, the 2-time GP2 race winner. And here we go for the anthem. All right, and what a great season that has been. And I've just gotten word that Joel Warson actually did not sign up for next season, meaning he wins in his last GP2 race. Or I should say last race in second tier, of course. Sure, we're getting rid of the tiering system, but GP2 is still the feeder series to F1. And yeah, Joel Warson, for now, ends his feeder series career on a high. A lot of other people didn't sign up. I believe Thomas didn't sign up either. But what a season that was. And in the end, it was this just like last season, Brazil pretty much wasn't eventful, really. None of the contenders scored anything. But in any case, yeah, had Kyle Burns gone 1/1000th of a second slower, Rahul Patel would have been champion. Unfortunately for Rahul Patel, though, Aaron Curtis is champion. Both of them have done incredibly well all season long, and now it is time to get a chat and a little bit of an interview. Actually, this has become the middle of the season, but we're going to get a little bit of an interview with our vice champion, our World Championship runner-up, Rahul Patel. I know it's probably hurts that you missed out on the title, but how are you feeling after that race?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that much, but we did win the team's championship as a team with me and Jesus, and I'm pretty happy that I've been a part of this team since day one. We tried last season, but we fell short because we dropped out of form. But we did a great job together as a team. Me and Jesus did brilliantly, and I think we deserve the team's title as a whole.
Yeah, indeed. Now, talk to me about your season. What do you think were the crucial moments?
Um, the win and the seventh places. I have to brag about the seventh places because I have three of them.
Yeah, indeed. Like I spoke so many times about it on the stream. What do you think of Kyle Burns? Because he's the reason you're not champion today.
Uh, he is a defensive master, pretty much the American wall, the wall that don't want to get political. Trump would want.
You say you don't want to get political, but you did get political. In any case, thank you, Rahul. Do you have any questions to ask him, Joe?
Only one. Obviously, you and Hayes has had it's fair to say, a very good relationship this season. It's fair to say, both of you encouraging each other on. Obviously, Hayes has did a good job today to win the team's title. You're obviously going to be in the top class next season with Lamborghini. Do you think Hayes will be there, or do you think he will miss out, in your opinion?
I actually do really want Jesus to be in it. He's done a brilliant job this season, and obviously I do want him to be in it, and hopefully he gets one of those seats in either Renault or Alfa Romeo. But we'll see what happens.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
all I have.
Well, that's been a very entertaining season. And GP2, we've had it for a while. We had these cars for a very long time, for 13 good for not for 13 good seasons. These cars had them for 10 seasons. But this series we've had it for 13 good seasons. I'm gonna miss it, but it's not gonna go anywhere because Formula 2 is gonna come next season with the unpronounceable car name. But in any case, I'm a little worn out. I have just a little bit of a personal announcement to make because tomorrow actually I'm going to be getting my work contract for my first job. So I'm going to actually start working very, very soon. And that means I might not be able to do commentary every single time, but hopefully I'll still find time in my schedule to do GP2 as often as possible. I will still remain lead commentator, of course, but I just wanted to let you guys know I might not be here all the time. I will still be here most of the time, but I won't guarantee I will always be here. In any case, I've got plenty of other capable commentators who can make it for me if I can't. But yeah, until then, Flo, since you've been the host for these last few for a few seasons of GP2, what are your closing thoughts on how the series has come to an end?
Yeah, GP2, it was great having you as a series from 2008 to 2020. But now it's time to finish it, and I think it has been a really good 13 seasons with a lot of twists and turns here and there. And also in the time I hosted it, it was really, really nice, especially
Yeah,
this
indeed.
season.
I had asked you a few days ago about a GP2 tribute video. Unfortunately, we can quite get it one made. But in any case, Joe, do you have any closing thoughts, I guess, since GP2 is now over?
Well, it's obviously been a lot of fun, hasn't it? GP2 has obviously it started in 2008 with Yuri as the first host, and then of course when Yuri went away to do his time in the Finnish military, of course, Florian took over the series. It was only meant to be a temporary thing for Florian, but of course, due to timing reasons, Florian took over full time. as a result, and it's fair to say that Florian has done a pretty good job. And obviously, it's not obviously completely done because it's going to be a fresh new era for this series in 2021 with the rebrand of Formula 2. And I've made a promise to Yuri. I know it's an unpronounceable name, but I think we'll just refer to it as the OCF2 car from 2021. It should be quite interesting to see how these new cars cope. And yeah, I cannot wait really because I think it's going to be very, very exciting for the series.
Tell you what, OCF2, that is a nice car name. But yeah, that's been it, not just from us, not just for this season, from GP2 as a whole. And I can't thank you guys enough for being here with us. Ever since I got this gig for commentary, sure, I didn't make any pennies for it, but I don't care about money. Ever since I got this gig in 2015, because I was going for a hard time during the 2014, 2015, 2016 seasons. But thankfully, I was able. But sure, I got banned, of course, and that stung with me at first when I was angry. But afterwards, myself and Joe made things up, and I came back first. Because I love commentary. My dad used to be a sports commentator, of course, and I guess that got passed down to me. So GP2, I think, meant the most to me because even though when I did some terrible things in the community, GP2 was what helped me get back in it. Not as a driver, but it helped me stay in touch with you all these seasons as a commentator, and I just can't thank you guys enough for it. To Joe, to Flo, to everyone else involved in it. And yeah, thank you very much, guys. GP2 has brought on a lot of memories, and now it's time to pull the curtain. Take care and good night.
See you next season for Formula 2.
Bye.